Now we got to talk about the $25,000 Tesla, because the $25,000 Tesla, it may already be here, which is remarkable because Tesla's supposed to be clearing their Model 3 inventory in anticipation of announcing Project Highland and revealing Project Highland, which would be the Model 3 refresh, which they're talking about announcing and revealing, or at least showcasing in China. And this Model 3 refresh is supposed to, or deemed to be, something that's going to increase margins for Tesla, increase desirability of the car. Who knows? But what's fascinating is that today, depending on where you live, you could potentially already get a $25,000 Tesla, brand spanking new, which is mind-blowing. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. But as far as a Tesla investor, what I really want you to think about is why the HE double hockey sticks is Tesla not advertising this. This is very important. Because when I show you that you could actually get, legitimately, I'm not using like fuel savings in this calculation, a Tesla, brand new, for $25,000. Well, consider for a moment this website right here. This is Toyota.com. I actually highly respect Toyota. I think they make phenomenal vehicles. I think they screwed up on the EV transition. That's why they canned their CEO, Mr. Toyoda, with a D. Anyway, they canned him to get to somebody who's actually going to transition the company to EVs. They also have sandbagged the idea that people want autonomy in their cars. I'll tell you, there's nothing like autonomy in these cars. They are so freaking good. When you can actually get your commute back and do something productive, it is so nice not to have to sit there and actually drive. Mostly because even though you're paying attention to the car and supervising the car, you're eliminating the stress of having to actively be that driver, right? Now, let me show you what not to do in a vehicle. What not to do in a vehicle when you have full self-driving on, like I happen to have in my Tesla, which this would never be my Tesla. But let's just say you had full self-driving on, and let's just say you had a laptop stand right here, and let's just say you had, the Doomberg right here, and then let's just say you were also at the same time watching Bloomberg TV because you had Direct TV also set up on your phone, and so your phone was playing TV as well, and while the car was driving itself. Let's just say you could potentially be more productive. This would be very, very stupid because you could get pulled over. But of course, not that the car would also potentially have a radar detector to try to minimize this. But again, this would be very stupid. You would not want to be that guy doing this. So anyway, let's just say when you're more productive than every other jerk off trying to compete for your real estate deals or whatever, well, you might be able to write some offers a little bit quicker than the next guy. So going back over here to the Camry buyer, which, remember, my first vehicle was the Toyota Prius. I drove that thing for like 7-8 years. It's great. I want to remind you that even though the starting price here is $26,000, usually when you actually build this crap out, you're going to be paying more. I mean, you want the hybrid version, you're looking at $24,000 or $34,000. Wow, these actually get pretty expensive. You only get 28 city miles per gallon. If you're over here at the basic LE. But again, when you actually look at probably the inventory here, if we search the inventory, you're probably not going to get something around 26. Although some of these are starting to sell for a little bit less than MSRP. Maybe you could get your Corolla over here if you really want the Corolla, which was actually my childhood car when I grew up. See, look at this. Sale pending. Here you've got the actual inventory. You're looking at 30 grand as the only actual inventory to get in here. And this is distance. Let's go price low to high. What's the lowest I can get? The lowest I can get on existing inventory in my area right now is 29. So that's $4,000 more than the Tesla. That's insane. But wait a minute. How could you possibly get this for $25,000? Kevin, it says $40,240. Well, first thing that you're going to consider is that you're going to get $7,500 back now from the federal government. So you're looking at $40,240 minus $7,500. You're looking at $32,740. Now, you could get loot box credits or up to another $1,000 by getting a Tesla referral code, which if you don't have one, you could just type into your browser here, metkevin.com/Tesla, and you could use my referral code if you want. And when you go to that, you could see there, earn rewards with Kevin's referral. You win, I win, whatever. Hey, look, Kevin has made 101 referrals. Cool. Okay, so now how do you get this to $25,000? Well, one of the ways you can get it to $25,000 is by evaluating your state credits. In California, you could get up to $7,500 for an electric vehicle, but you have to apply for this, and there's a limited amount of this money available. So you'd have to go to cleanvehiclerebate.org, and you submit an application within 90 days of the purchase or lease to be eligible for a rebate. And you can evaluate what these tax credits are like in your individual states based on what your individual state is willing to provide. In the case of California, as long as you make less than $300,000 for a joint filer, $204,000 for HOH, head of household, and $150,000, actually, I'm pretty sure it's $135,000 for single filers, you're eligible for the full credit. Obviously, you could read the terms and conditions over here. And there's some other restrictions, income verifications, household size, blah, 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 blah. You can evaluate that on the California website, as well as reviewing eligible vehicles and funding requirements and otherwise. But now all of a sudden, you're potentially taking this $40,240 car, minus $7,500, minus $7,500. You're potentially looking at a Tesla for as inexpensively as $25,240 for a brand new Tesla Model 3. Even if you can't get that $7,500 from your state, though, you're looking at about $32,000 for a Model 3. Now, what's fascinating is what a lot of people will do is they'll evaluate the Tesla car payment versus another car payment. Generally, what I recommend people do, and we've been evaluating this lately, is for now, skip the full self-driving. Just get yourself the enhanced autopilot, especially if you do a lot of city driving. I'm sorry, if you do a lot of highway driving. If you do a lot of highway driving, you could just get away with the enhanced autopilot. And now let's go ahead and evaluate what it would cost on a monthly basis. So with 10% down, you're looking at about $710 a month. That's a lot of money because the interest rate is about 5.69%, right? So let's evaluate how much of that would be going to principal. So to do that math, what you're going to do is you're going to take the purchase price of the vehicle. Now you're going to be borrowing against the entire original purchase price of the vehicle. So you're going to be borrowing against this $40,240 at 90% since you're putting down 10%. So call it a $36,216. And now let's run the math of how much your interest per year is going to be. Your interest per year is going to be about $2,000. So if your interest is about $2,000 per year, you're paying about $1.71 in interest. That means your principal pay down is actually $539 per month. So out of the $700 that you're paying, $539 of it is going to actually paying down the value of the car. That's basically money going towards your asset. Now it is a depreciating asset, but the good news is you're getting a check back from the government for $7,500 on the federal basis and $7,500 potentially from California. And the Biden administration just confirmed that the Tesla Model 3 qualifies for the full $7,500 because Tesla rejiggered their supply chain, smartly so, to basically create a tax deduction with basically taking advantage of what the government's going to provide via the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, the crazy thing about this is this vehicle is absolutely amazing. I personally do not believe the Model X, which I own, or the Model S, which I own, are worth it. If you are going to step up from the Model 3, I think the Model Y is the most you should spend. Cars are depreciating assets, but the Model 3s and the Ys, are the safest vehicles that exist on the roads. They are phenomenal in terms of how quickly you can charge them, how far you can get. I'm a big Tesla bull. I think these cars are great. There's once you drive a Tesla and you actually use the self-driving features, there's no competition, at least not yet. So I'm a big fan of these. I would not spend more money though on the S and X. I don't think it's valuable. The only reason you would do that is if you're kind of wanting to pull the look at me, I have a more expensive car, or you want to go a little faster on launch or whatever. But I'll tell you, that's fun to show your friends and stuff. But beyond, is it worth another 50 grand? No. So Model 3, a Model Y becoming substantially more affordable thanks to tax credits. This doesn't even consider your potential fuel savings. I understand the legacy argument that everybody makes on the electric vehicles that, well, got to plug it in somewhere. Guess where that electricity comes from? It comes from coal. I here am not making an argument about electricity not coming from coal. In fact, I'm not making a green argument at all. I'm making a simple argument that this is a very affordable car that's very safe and it'll drive for you. Now, you should be safe with how you have it drive for you. But there's some limitations. Obviously, you got to pay attention to what the darn thing is doing. It's a lot of the stuff is in beta, so you want to be careful. Yahoo News notification: Tesla considering building $4.8 billion factory in Spain. Wow. See, that's smart. That I really believe they should just build factories. I've called it copy and paste in the past. I'm not calling it that anymore, mostly because what we've adapted that to is, yes, we're going to build more factories, but we're going to build different factories, right? And let's say in Northeast Mexico, we'll do the $25,000 car or more inexpensive car. Maybe in Nevada or whatever, we'll do our some of our batteries. In New York, we'll do some of our solar panels. In Europe, maybe we'll do something else. Whatever. It's not bad. But if that ends up being true, that notification, which would I don't think you're feeding me BS here, but yeah, that's great. The problem is it is going to lead to more of a capex capital expenditure for Tesla, and that is going to burn their balance sheet more than it's already been burned. And so there are some shorter term risks in terms of cash flow needs for Tesla. But in terms of people buying these cars and now what you can get with tax credits relative to the price of these other vehicles, I don't understand how it makes sense to buy yourself a Camry for 30 grand when even without state tax credits, you're basically getting a Tesla for the same price. And then you have the future proofing of the over-the-air updates and all of the potential full self-driving features if you want them. The other option for FSD is just pay for it monthly rather than just pay 15 grand, which I think is a little high. Just pay monthly, like either $99 or $1.99 for it. And try it out. I personally think Tesla should offer free 30 or 60-day trials for FSD to make people realize, oh my gosh, what I actually really like doing is I like turning it on when my wife is in the car. I love turning things on when my wife is around. But anyway, what's remarkable is she used to not like autopilot. Now she's like, damn, that's actually nice. I wish my Toyota Sienna had that. And then I'm like, well, Lauren, we can get you a Tesla. And she's like, but Kevin, I need the space. And that's the one thing I actually agree with her on. The Model Y is not as spacious as a minivan. And we've got twins coming. So quite frankly, even the minivan's not going to have enough room. And so I will finally be able to upgrade to my dream of a vehicle, the Mercedes Sprinter van. I cannot wait. However, I will be very disappointed in driving it because it won't have full self-driving. Now, if Tesla would come out with one of those, I'll buy 10. Quick note about the California credits. They are limited by number of people in your household. So if you're just a single person in a household and your income's under $135,000, you may not be eligible for all of that subsidy because, unfortunately, take a look at this. You've got to have about 4 people in your household and be able to make less than $111,000 as a combined household income to qualify. So that extra California $7,500 isn't necessarily as great as it initially appears. However, this is for the increased credit. There is a $2,000 California credit that I believe is not income restricted, and then income restricted boosts for up to that $7,500 are going to be restricted by how many people are actually in the household. So make sure you read all of the eligibility requirements here as well. Now, I want you to know this, when it comes to AI, time is what's going to make you money. And if you can prove that value to an employer, you'll always be able to be employed. So this is another way of making sure that you don't get replaced